Hello everybody. Long time no talk. It's literally been like 20 damn days since I've uploaded on this channel. Um Not going to bother doing the hey, I haven't been here in a while thing because I do it every damn time. So why even bother with that? Since I've last been on here, I got a tattoo. I also got my nails painted. I don't really care for it. Probably not a look I'm gonna continue to go with. I don't think it really suits me. But yeah, that's how it is currently. I am going to talk about Kyrie Irving and the future of the Nets because a report came out from Shams today about Kyrie Irving and the Nets being at an impasse in conversation about his future in Brooklyn, clearing ways for the 7-time All-Star to consider the open market. Lakers and Knicks emerge as potential suitors. So, want to talk about that. I'm going to try and be on top of shit on this channel as well as my main channel going forward because I kind of fell off. Not like in the like, haha, you fell off kind of way, but like literally I just stopped doing my job for quite a while. And it's for a variety of reasons. Depression, going on benders, and not really wanting to do it. And number four, my laptop broke and I just got a new one. So that took a couple of days off of the equation. When I was ready to finally kick things back, I then fell into not being able to work because my laptop screen broke. But let's talk about Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets. So I'm gonna do a bigger video on this over on my main channel, of course, talking about the overall future of the Brooklyn Nets. But the potential of Kyrie Irving to not return to the Nets and leave his team this offseason was always something that was on the table. I just feel like weirdly went under the radar. It's almost like we spent so much time talking about Kyrie Irving's other escapades that we never actually bothered to consider the fact that with all of those drama elements that happened this year, with the James Harden situation, with his vaccination situation, with the media shitstorm that existed around him, with him completely underperforming in round one versus the Celtics, all of that stuff factoring in, that him leaving the team was well within the realm of possibility because Kyrie Irving, unfortunately, is at this impasse where he is extremely talented, and there is no denying that. There's not a single human being on this planet Earth who has anything negative to say about Kyrie Irving's ability on the floor, other than, like, his defense, but, like, who really gives a shit? And even then, his defense is not terrible, but it's, you know, the only thing that he's not, like, pretty damn good at. But Kyrie Irving, of course, is someone that we're always talking about in a context that is separate from what he is capable of doing on the floor. And that is the concern for the Brooklyn Nets. And where these conversations become, as Shams puts it, at an impasse, is not because Kyrie Irving lacks interest in returning to the Nets, as far as I have seen, rather that the Nets are rather concerned, and understandably so, about giving him a long-term contract, because Kyrie is so unreliable that you don't necessarily want to give him the money that you expect of someone who is reliable. And as a result, the potential of him not being in Brooklyn going forward is very much there. Now, that leaves things interesting because here we see from Shams, and this is not just some random Lakers or Knicks fans putting this shit out there. This is from fucking Shams himself. He's the second most trustworthy source behind Woj to me, and I only say second most because Woj is like he was first, so I give Woj the seniority, but really equally trustworthy sources. If Shams and Woj say it, it's probably true. So the Lakers and Knicks as potential suitors, that being noteworthy means that there is a world where that happens. And of course, with the Lakers specifically, that has to be a sign and trade. And the only player that could really be moved would be Russell Westbrook. I'm not going to talk about Kevin Durant's future with this team if Kyrie Irving is moved. Because that is going to be a topic for, again, a main channel video. However, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant being together again would certainly be interesting. The Knicks situation, I mean, I don't even know, does that have to be a sign and trade? Do they have the cap space? I don't know if they do. Maybe you have to move Julius Randle. But either way, the noteworthy thing here is that the Brooklyn Nets are going to look not fucking amazing when Kyrie Irving is no longer a factor on that team. You already, of course, lost James Harden, though James Harden, the way that he has been, has not been as big of a loss as he would have been generally when associating the idea of losing a guy with that name. And then Ben Simmons is a huge factor. But still, like, do you want him to be your second star? I don't think anybody does. I apologize for that phone notification earlier. Either way, the Nets and what they look like going forward, if Kyrie Irving is not a member of this team, even if Kyrie's situation and who he is on and off the floor can be quite tentative and oftentimes really problematic from a franchise's perspective, the alternative is worse. So that's kind of the point that I'm arriving to with the Nets here, is because the impasse is mostly coming from the fact that the Nets are concerned about his future, that makes me question what the alternative is for them. Because if they're like, we don't want to give Kyrie Irving this money because he is this problem off of the floor, what exactly is the alternative? What are you turning to? Because you've traded basically all of your draft capital and you don't really have another avenue to get another player anywhere near the caliber of Kyrie Irving, even if he comes with a lot of baggage. So that being the case, I think it would be a mistake on the part of the Brooklyn Nets to not fully embrace Kyrie Irving. And I understand that it's a little bit of a desperate situation to fully embrace Kyrie Irving at this point, but the Nets are in a desperate situation. So this is just the position they put themselves in. They made their bed, they gotta fucking lie in it. So at this point, I don't see a world where the Nets let Kyrie go or sign and trade him or whatever, and it doesn't result in anything less than a implosion from the Brooklyn Nets. If Kyrie's gone, I can only imagine that what happens next is Kevin Durant demands a trade. And that will be basically unprecedented territory. The last time we have seen, not entirely unprecedented, but like in the last few years, the last time we have seen a player near Kevin Durant's caliber ask for a trade, it was Kobe Bryant in 2007. The last time we have seen a top 3 player in the league asked to go out. I mean, I guess you can maybe say Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi was not like this consensus, definitely top 3 guy when he asked for a trade, even though I probably would have put him in that conversation. So I guess maybe a little bit Kawhi Leonard, but since Kawhi at the very least, Kevin Durant is the best player who would have been asking for an out with his team. And since then, before that, it would have been Kobe Bryant. So that's kind of a big deal. This would be huge, and I would also personally kind of like to see it go this way, just from a content perspective, because like Kevin Durant going to a new team would be fucking massive, and there would be a lot of conversations around the Brooklyn Nets and the forming of this team, the future of this team. They kind of put themselves back in the same position they put themselves in 2013 if this comes to fruition, because they kind of moved all their assets for this idea of a super team. Super team never really worked out, and then they left them high and dry, and now once again you don't really have the assets. So it's kind of depressing in that way that it's just a repeat of the same fucking cycle. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this whole thing. I'm not really going to speculate on trades or anything like that too in depth until this becomes a more serious rumor, but it is definitely something to keep an eye on, and really probably the biggest thing to keep an eye on this offseason, because really there's nothing huge to look at outside of this move. So that means that like Zach LaVine, the report just came out that's like pretty much a guarantee he re-signs with the Bulls, which I always felt that to be the case, but still freaked out about the rumors because I'm a Bulls fan. So to that end, we pretty much have all of our bases covered this offseason, and there's not a lot to talk about. So some huge drama and blowing up situation with the Nets would be really good for there being actual news. and actually something to talk about content-wise. So I guess we can only wait and see. I'm also probably not going to make a video specifically about the Christian Wood trade because I think I missed the window of relevance there. I just want to say I fucking called that shit. If you recall back to my What's Next for the Mavericks video, one huge trade that I proposed that I said would be the best move they could make was the Christian Wood exchange from the Rockets. And that's exactly what happened. And I was the only motherfucker. I mean, I'm sure some other guy out there said it, but no major media member or YouTuber or anything said that shit besides for me. Christian Wood to the Mavericks. I manifested that shit. So you're welcome, Mavericks fans, unless the move doesn't work out, in which case I bear no responsibility and you cannot blame me in the slightest. But if it works out, I was a genius and you're welcome. If it doesn't, I had no influence on that. Don't bother me. That's how it works. I hope you understand that. Anyways, subscribe to the channel. And that is it. Goodbye.